stop what you're doing right now. I mean it. Put the phone down, or rather, hold it steady, because what I'm about to share with you might be the most important piece of health information you'll hear all year. I'm not saying that to be dramatic or to clickbait you. I'm saying it because most doctors, even the oncologists I work with every day, aren't telling their patients over 50 about this. It's not because they're keeping secrets. It's because the solution doesn't come in a pill bottle. My name is Dr. William Lee. I'm a vascular biologist and cancer researcher, and I've spent more than 25 years looking at what actually happens at the cellular level to stop cancer before it even starts. What I found, and what a massive 2022 Harvard study following Wonders 16 Zallos in adults confirmed, is that one specific category of daily habits can reduce your cancer risk by up to 61% if you're over the age of 50. Think about that. Not a new chemotherapy drug, not an expensive supplement, but a 61% reduction through lifestyle. Today, we're going to walk through the 5 most powerful habits you can start tomorrow morning. We're going to go from helpful to absolutely transformational. Because the number one habit, because the number one habit is something I'm doing 90% of completely wrong. To absolutely transformational, the science suggests you could cut your risk nearly in half on its own. But before we dive into the how, I want to ask you something. Look at the screen and really think, have you ever had a doctor sit you down to talk about prevention, not just detection? Let me know your age and your answer in the comments. I read them all, and it helps me know what we need to talk about next. Now, let's start at number 5. Habit number 5, the morning garbage truck. Most people dismiss this first habit because it's too simple. But that dismissal is costing lives. I'm talking about cold water hydration. Specifically, I want you to drink 16 to 20 ounces of filtered water the very second you wake up. Before the coffee, before the toast, before you even check your emails. Here's why this is a life saver for those of us over 50. As we age, something called interceptive thirst sensitivity starts to decline. That's just a fancy medical way of saying your brain loses its ability to tell you when you're thirsty. A study out of the University of Barcelona found that adults over 60 are often operating at 8% to 12% below optimal hydration without ever feeling a thirst sensation. Why does this matter for cancer? Your lymphatic system. Think of the lymphatic system as your body's internal garbage truck. Its job is to drive around and collect cellular waste and damaged DNA fragments. But here's the catch, that garbage truck runs almost entirely on water. When you're dehydrated, the truck slows down. The trash, damaged cells, and inflammation starts to pile up in your tissues. We now know that chronic low-grade inflammation is one of the primary drivers of cancer, especially in the colon, bladder, and kidneys. The Harvard Nurses' Health Study found that women who drank more than 5 glasses of water a day had a 45% lower risk of colon cancer. That's incredible for something that's essentially free. The routine: keep a 20-ounce glass of water on your nightstand. When your feet hit the floor, drink it all. Add a squeeze of lemon if you can. The D-limonene in the peel actually has its own anti-tumor properties. The synergy tip: pair that water with 10 minutes of light movement. Just walking around the kitchen helps. Movement stimulates that lymphatic flow, compounding the cleansing effect by up to 40%. Habit number 40. The security guard in your gut. Number 4 is a food group that's been around for thousands of years, but was dismissed by Western medicine for decades. Now, it's the subject of over 200 peer-reviewed studies. I'm talking about naturally fermented foods: kefir, kimchi, sauerkraut, miso, and plain yogurt. In 2021, Stanford University researchers found that a diet high in fermented foods dramatically increased microbiome diversity and decreased 19 specific inflammatory proteins linked to cancer progression. This is vital for those over 50 because of something called intestinal permeability, or leaky gut. After 60, your gut lining naturally becomes more porous. This allows toxins to leak into your blood, acting like fertilizer for precancerous cells. I remember a patient of mine, Margaret, she was 67, had a family history of colorectal cancer and was constantly exhausted. Her diet was clean, but she had 0 fermented foods. We added 2 servings a day, kefir in the morning, sauerkraut at lunch. Within 90 days, her C-reactive protein, a major inflammation marker, dropped by 38%. She told me it was the first time in years she felt like herself. How it works when beneficial bacteria ferment fiber in your gut. They produce something called butyrate. Think of butyrate as a security guard. It literally signals precancerous cells in the colon to undergo apoptosis. It tells them to die before they can cause harm. It escorts the troublemakers out of the building before they start a fire. The routine aim for 1 to 2 servings a day. Make sure it's not pasteurized because heat kills the live cultures you need. The synergy tip: eat these with prebiotics, garlic leeks, or slightly green bananas. Prebiotics are the food for the bacteria you're introducing, making the effect much stronger. Habit number 3A, metabolic walking. Habit number 3 is walking, but not the way you're used to doing it. I call this metabolic walking. There is a fundamental difference between a regular stroll and metabolic walking, and that difference could be the key to starving cancer cells. Back in 1931, a scientist named Otto Warburg discovered something fascinating. Cancer cells are sugar addicts. They are almost exclusively dependent on glucose for fuel and are actually very bad at using oxygen for energy. When you engage in metabolic walking, walking at a pace where you can talk but would find it hard to sing, you do 2 things. You deplete the circulating glucose in your blood, and you flood your tissues with oxygen. You are essentially starving the cancer and creating an environment where it cannot survive. A massive review of 1.4 million adults found that this kind of moderate activity was linked to a 42% reduction in colon cancer and a 38% reduction in breast cancer. But here's why it's a must for aging bodies after 65. Your mitochondria, as the power plants in your cells, drop in efficiency by 35%. Metabolic walking is one of the only things proven to signal your body to build new, healthy mitochondria. It's like installing a brand new fleet of power generators in every cell of your body. The routine 30 to 45 minutes of continuous walking 5 days a week. Ideally, do this in the morning before breakfast because moving in a fasted state ramps up that glucose depleting effect. The synergy tip: do your walk in natural light. Morning sunlight regulates your circadian rhythm, which governs your immune surveillance, the system your body uses to hunt for cancer cells. Habit number 2, the DNA head of security number 2, involves a family of compounds found in a specific type of vegetable. The research here is some of the most compelling I've seen in my 25-year career. We're talking about sulforaphane, found in cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and cauliflower. But the real powerhouse, broccoli sprouts, sulforaphane activates a master genetic switch called NRF2. Think of NRF2 as the head of security for your DNA. When it's turned on, it triggers over 200 protective genes that detoxify your body and repair damaged DNA before it can mutate. The tragedy of aging is that NRF2 activity drops by about 40% between the ages of 50 and 70. Your DNA repair system is basically going on an unannounced vacation. Sulforaphane wakes it up. Research from the Roswell Park Comprehensive Cancer Center found that sulforaphane even goes after cancer stem cells. Think of these as the generals of an army. Conventional treatment often kills the soldiers, but if the generals survive, they'll just rebuild the army. Sulforaphane goes after the generals. The catch: most people cook the benefits right out of their broccoli. Sulforaphane isn't actually in the broccoli. It's created when an enzyme called myrosinase is activated by chopping or chewing, but heat destroys that enzyme. The routine: chop your broccoli and let it sit for 40 minutes before cooking. This gives the enzyme time to create the sulforaphane. Or better yet, eat raw broccoli sprouts, which have up to 50 times more sulforaphane than mature broccoli. The synergy tip: if you eat cooked broccoli, add a little raw mustard seed powder or raw radishes. These are rich in the enzyme you just cooked away, restoring the cancer fighting power by up to 4-fold. Habit number 1, oncological sleep architecture. This is the one. This is the master switch that most people over 60 are getting completely wrong, and the consequences are frankly terrifying. We need to talk about oncological sleep architecture. During deep sleep, stages 3 and 4, your brain activates the glymphatic system. This was only discovered in 2013. It's a power wash cycle for your brain and nervous system, flushing out toxic debris. But the cancer connection is even deeper. During these deep phases, your body produces melatonin. Most people think of melatonin as just a sleep hormone, but it is actually one of the most powerful antioxidants known to science. Melatonin does two things. It blocks cancers from building the blood vessels they need to grow as anti-angiogenesis. It stimulates natural killers in cave cells, the frontline soldiers that destroy cancer cells on site. Here's the scary part. Melatonin production drops by 70% between ages 40 and 70. By the time you're 65, your internal anti-cancer mechanism is running on empty. This is so serious that the International Agency for Research on Cancer actually classifies night shift work, which disrupts sleep, as a carcinogen, the same category as industrial chemicals. I had a patient named Eleanor, 71 years old. She was sleeping 5 hours a night and waking up constantly. Her immune panel showed almost no natural killer cell activity. We put her on a sleep recalibration protocol, 10:00 p.m. bedtime, no screens 90 minutes before bed, and a cool room of 67 degrees. Within 6 weeks, she was getting 7.5 hours of sleep. Her natural killer cell count increased by 47%. Her oncology team was floored. The routine set a consistent bedtime, even on weekends. Make your room pitch black. Even a tiny bit of light stops melatonin production. Keep it cool, 6568 Driggsnia 5. Stop eating 3 hours before bed so your body focuses on repair, not digestion. The synergy tip, this circles back to habit 3. Getting that morning sunlight anchors your rhythm so your body knows exactly when to release that cancer-fighting melatonin at night. A fresh opportunity if you're sitting there thinking, I'm 70, it's too late for me. I want you to hear this. The science does not have an age limit. Whether you're 55 or 85, your body has a remarkable capacity to heal and defend itself if you just give it the right tools. These 5 habits: hydration, fermented foods, metabolic walking, sulforaphane, and restorative sleep are not exotic. They are the conditions your biology was designed to thrive in. They cost almost nothing. They don't require a prescription. And every single morning, you get a fresh opportunity to start. Your independence and your quality of life are worth a 30-minute walk and a glass of water. Don't let anyone tell you it's too late. The research says otherwise, and so do I. If this helped you, please share it with someone you love. We go deep into the science of aging well every single week, and your support is what keeps this channel going. So, which of these 5 habits are you starting tomorrow morning? Let me know in the comments. I'll see you in the next one.